This is Jay Martin.
I begin every day by shouting into the abyss in the form of a daily journal. So I write down whatever is front and center on my mind, and it focuses my energy for the day. And this also serves as a record of account for the things in my life that I would like to change, right? It keeps me accountable. So I can pull up entries from like a year ago and read about my life's most significant pain points, right? Have I addressed those? Or my most essential aspirations, right? Have I moved closer? And this also plants the seeds for my weekly newsletter, which, as so many of you know, is my favorite thing that I do each week. I'd love to have you subscribe. If you don't, there's a link beneath this video. But last week, I was up for dinner with some new friends. And so you get the usual questions, right? What do you do? And the standard answer, well, I do a handful of things, of which writing is my favorite. And then, of course, what do you write about? It's a hard question to answer because I write about anything I want. But really, I said, I write about the fact that we should take comfort in our insignificance and our inability to understand the world, which, if you're a newsletter subscriber, often that's what I write about, our inability to truly understand the complexity and therefore predict, market events, geopolitical events, economic events, etc. But we should take comfort in our inability to do that. So, of course, then they say, what on earth do you mean about taking comfort in our insignificance and our inability to understand the world? And so let me put this in numbers, because this is what I write about and I really enjoy it. And it does give me comfort understanding my own insignificance, right? So right now, there's roughly 8 billion people in the world. And that means that there are 8 billion lived experiences occurring right now, of which I am only one. So therefore, my lived experience equates to a total of this percent of the life experiences that are happening in this minute. And that's is if we limit our population sample strictly to the humans that are still alive today, which is a tiny fraction of the humans that have lived over time. But we live in a world that our predecessors created and that we inherited. So the relevant population of human experiences would be the cumulative population of all humans ever. Now, Homo sapiens have walked the earth for about 190,000 years. And although this is speculation, anthropological estimates agree typically that around 117 billion Homo sapiens have walked the earth during that time. So now we're not 1 in 8 billion, we're 1 in 117 billion. So expressing this number as a percent is irrelevant because our brains don't sufficiently compute the differences between quintillions and decillions, but suffice to say, we're pretty limited when it comes to perspective. But lived experience is all we have to interpret the world. So even if we've only experienced this percent of the world as it's occurring this minute, we use that experience to analyze 100% of the world as it happens. And the lack of evidence that we have rarely discourages us from having super high conviction in our belief systems. Therefore, I've got an opinion about sweatshops that I've never visited. I've got an opinion about repercussions for crimes that I've never been a victim of, right? About commercial food production, even though my personal hit ratio at homegrown basil is like 50%. By any metric, I don't know what is happening most of the time. But it feels good to have opinions. It helps us add logic to the world. So we may not understand the why behind events, or that why is often an irrelevant question. So we create the why. We add the meaning that we need to process the events around us. The world might actually be empty and meaningless. And if that statement's true, what a relief. But it would also make that statement empty and meaningless. So don't put too much weight on it. Here's some universal truths. We want to feel good. We don't want to feel bad. If an experience brought me pain, I want to understand why, so I can avoid that experience in the future. If an experience brought me joy, I want to understand why, so I can recreate it in the future. We want to feel good. We don't want to feel bad. And the purpose of life might actually be that simple. What do you think? Now, 3 things before I let you go. Number 1, I publish a weekly newsletter and I love writing it. I share my biggest takeaways and action items from the conversations that I have on this channel. In addition, my thoughts on current events, economic events, political events, and you can subscribe for free. Just hit the pinned comment right beneath this video, or just go to jmartin.club and you can subscribe on the website. I'd love to have you join the team. Number 2, ad revenue from this channel is donated to an organization that is super close to my heart called Zero Ceiling. Now, Zero Ceiling's mission is to end youth homelessness. And the way they do this is by giving at-risk urban youth the opportunity to relocate to beautiful wilderness areas and then provide them with supportive housing, career training, and just generally positive influences on their life. I love what they do. Check them out if you're interested. And number 3, if you prefer to listen to my content as opposed to watch it, you can find me wherever you listen to your podcasts. Just search for The Jay Martin Show. All right, thanks again.